Hello and welcome back to Karma Stories. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have a few stories for you from the Tales from the Front Desk subreddit. Before we start today, while I was recording this one, I found another story in the same subreddit, Tales from the Front Desk, that was way too not safe for work to put on YouTube. So I popped that one up over on the Karma Stories Patreon. That one is there right now for you to check out if you want to. Trust me, it's a really good one. The link to the Patreon is in the description down below. Come on over and join the Karma crew. As for today's stories, let's just jump right in. This story comes to us from Indie Steeler. You're out of rooms? Well, I see one right here. I've been in hospitality for the last 5 years, and this happens every so often. It usually only happens on the night audit shifts, as this is because of the system changing dates. A guest will walk into the hotel, phone in hand and faced up, and ask, "Do you have any rooms available?" I would inform them that we are currently full. They usually get smug and say, "Well, it says right here on," and they always say "your" pointedly, like they've gotten one over us. "Your website," it's usually a third-party website, "says that you have a room. Should I book it?" Considering that I just told you we are full, no, you should not book it. That room will not be available until 3 p.m. Well, it shows here you have a room available, so I'm going to book it. Miss, please listen to me. A room is not available. It doesn't matter what the third-party website says. We are full. Secondly, the room that is showing as available is for tonight's check-ins. It is a new calendar day, but the hotel day doesn't end until 11 a.m., which is when everyone is due to check out. I'm telling you now that if you book that room, especially through a third party, you are after the 24 hours before arrival to qualify for a free cancellation, so you will be charged for the room. I thought that she had understood because she walked away, and I thought that was the end of it. I'm occasionally looking at the departures because I like to have some idea of what morning I'm going to have. I see that one more arrival has popped up. I'm scanning for the new name, and based off of the new name, I know who it is. I kid you not, about probably 10 minutes later, she walks in with a crap-eating grin. "Since you didn't want to help me, I got the reservations department to help. I would like to check in." Great. So I pull up her reservation that she booked through a third party. I verify all of her information and say, "Alright, everything is in order, so..." She interrupts me and says sarcastically, "Thanks, great. Yeah, so I need 3 keys. I told her not to interrupt and said, "As I was saying, we are all set with your pre-check-in. We'll see you at 3 in the afternoon. If a room is ready before check-in, we will accommodate an early check-in and waive that early check-in fee." She was not happy. "You just said everything is in order. Why can't I check in?" Respectfully, you interrupted me before I could finish speaking. I also told you multiple times that we do not have a room available at this time to check into. Lo and behold, the third party lied to her and said that she could check in. I never understood why people think every front desk person is lying to them and out to get them. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called SquilliamFancySon837. It says, "For real, like, do they think we lie for fun? Why would I make my night more miserable by dealing with an unhappy guest if I didn't need to?" OP responded to this one and said, "What I tend to tell guests is this. I know that it may seem obvious, but I don't come to work to be yelled at or talked down to. If I could help you, I would, but I cannot." Another user down below called KBG said, "Honestly, the hotel's entire reason for existence is to sell rooms. Do they really not think you'd sell a room if you could? I just don't understand this attitude from guests." OP responded and said, "Exactly. Some hotels I've worked at even give you a cut, albeit very small, of the room that you sell. Even when I don't get a cut, it looks great for me when I sell a lot of rooms and helps with yearly raises." I guess some people just can't get through their heads that a big hotel might have every single room rented out for the night. Like, yeah, that front desk agent, they came into work today just because they wanted to mess with you and not sell you a room. That's exactly what's going on here. It has nothing to do with their booking system and the fact that there are no rooms. Ugh. This story comes to us from Wooden Explorer 2530. I withheld a top floor room from a gold member because I felt like it and personally wanted to ruin her vacation. Jokes. Last weekend, we had a Karen check in on a Friday, and I get her checked in within a minute or two. Everything seemed good to go. I hand her the keys to a third floor room, and she stops dead in her tracks and asks me if it's the top floor. I tell her, no, it's the third floor. She got haughty and insisted she requested a top floor room. I do her a courtesy and see if I have any on the top floor. I had exactly one room, but it was dirty, and I relay this to her, that housekeeping is still cleaning it. She then demands an ETA on it and will insist on waiting for that room to be ready. Bear in mind, I've been on the clock for 10 minutes tops, and it's almost a sold-out Friday. I have no idea how far along housekeeping is, and I'm not going to rush them for her to get a room on the top floor when I saw no request for one on her reservation. I also don't promise ETAs on rooms. I also noticed that the top floor room in question has been a problem room for us because it has a frequent issue with the TV not working. And most usually when we rent it, people ask to move anyway because of it. Not sure why we can't decide to leave it out of order or not, but it's been a pain in the rear for both guests and staff alike. I tell her that it won't be available because 1, it's dirty, and 2, maintenance issue, and she storms off, insisting she requested a top floor room and wants it later. Later, my coworker arrives and joins me, and before I can catch them up to speed on the situation, the lady returns and tries to tell them that she was promised a top floor room and wants to move, while completely ignoring me, pretending I don't exist. I slide in and remind her, while also informing my coworker that she was told it wasn't available because there was a maintenance issue found in the top floor room and we couldn't give it to her. Because I respect both my coworkers and her time by not giving her a runaround about it. I also can't in good conscience rent a room I know she's going to complain about later, which leads to a room change, and lo and behold, nothing left on the top floor. She storms off again and insists she's going to corporate about this injustice, and she sure did by first opening a case against the hotel because she checked out a day earlier than intended, and was surprised to see that her bank statement still had the full authorization for the original stay length, thinking we overcharged her. I responded to and closed the case because we did not in fact overcharge her, even sent her another receipt showing this. The initial authorization stays on for a few days and eventually gets finalized by the bank. We have no control once the card goes through for the stay. A few days later, she then leaves a 1-star review saying she was overcharged an obscene amount and refused to refund her, and that the front desk personally insulted her and ruined her staycation because I lied to her for no reason and didn't want her to feel special by giving her a top floor room. She admitted to opening a chargeback case because of her bank statement showing what she was originally authorized by us, and claims she called the desk about this and got hung up on twice, to which me and my coworkers have no idea about. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Tell Them I Said Hi. Great name. It says, don't give information. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those available. The moment you give information, you're in a negotiation. Don't negotiate. OP responded to this one and said, that's on me. I tend to err on the side of too honest. By the time I realized it slipped out that a dirty room existed and gave her grounds to negotiate for it, it was too late to backtrack without sounding like a butthole. It also took me a moment to remember that room was dealing with TV issues. So she did have the perspective that I could be lying out my butt to save face and not give her what she wanted. Though I stand by that she was needlessly entitled about getting a top floor when I regrouped and said that it wouldn't be available. Another commenter down below called WizBiz92 said, ma'am, you requested a top floor room, asking's free, but that doesn't guarantee we can fulfill it. The funny thing about this last comment is that OP said in the story that there wasn't any request on file for this customer. Unfortunately, with this kind of Karen, there's just really no winning. They think they're better than the people at the front desk, and they think they should get what they want. Now, I'm not sure how it works at the hotel that OP works at, but if this customer is in the rewards program and they're a gold member, like it says in the title, OP should report the poor behavior to the rewards program, and maybe she'll lose some points. That would be epic. This story comes to us from Pink Ass Heart. Guest thinks it's morally wrong for me to take this money. This literally just happened and I'm so flabbergasted by this interaction. This guy walks in and says he has a reservation, so I pull it up on the system. Okay, sir, may I please see your ID and credit card? Actually, I'd like to see the room before I check in. I'm not comfortable paying for something without seeing it first. All of my bosses and managers and housekeepers have just left like 5 seconds ago, so I'm not allowed to leave the lobby unless it's to close the pool. I'm so sorry, but I'm unfortunately the only one working here at the moment, so I'm unable to leave the front desk unattended. He gave the shocked Pikachu face. I've never had a hotel deny me of this request. Every hotel I've stayed at does this. This is not right. Can't I leave you my ID and take a key to see the room? Unfortunately, I can't allow that. If I had a housekeeper here, I would be able to help you out. But again, I'm the only one here now. He is pissed the F off. This is not right. You need to apologize to me and admit it's morally wrong for you to take my money without letting me see the room. Every hotel lets me do this. Hotels are so strict about paying before you get something, you can't even use the restroom without paying. Would you go to McDonald's and ask to see the food before you pay for it? I understand your concerns, but again, I cannot leave the front desk to show you a room or give you a room key even if you'd give something as collateral. This is a policy put in place, and I'm just doing my job. Admit that it's morally wrong and you're taking my money. I'm over it at this point. Sir, I can cancel your reservation free of charge if you'd like, as it seems like this conversation is going nowhere. No, I don't want to do that. Just continue with the check-in process. I started being a smart butt. Are you sure you want to pay for something you're not seeing first? I'm sorry I had to say it. He was irritating the F out of me. So you admit it then? I'm not admitting anything, but you're making my job very difficult to do at the moment. He gives me his ID and credit card, and then I checked him in. My manager coincidentally came back because she forgot something, and he looked hopeful that she would show him the room, but she disappeared in the back and didn't come out until he was gone. I told her what just happened, and she just shook her head and questioned why people act like that. I'm not worried about getting in trouble though. We actually were instructed to not allow non-guests to see the rooms when we're alone at the front desk. I never agree to show someone a room unless they're elderly or a travel nurse. I only get asked to be shown a room maybe 1 or 2 times a month. Now I need to know if anyone has had similar stories or if maybe I was in the wrong. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Mazda Valiant. It says, someone's in the wrong here and it's not you. There is a way you can see a room first. It's called a website. OP responded and said, I always feel a little bad because they probably had a bad experience at another hotel, but I really don't like the idea of allowing someone into a room they may or may not rent, especially if they are given a key and go to the room themselves. They could do anything, and I'm not risking the safety of others just because a guest wants to see a room. Definitely agreeing with OP on this one. You cannot send a person who hasn't paid into a room at any time because you don't know what they're going to do in there. And even if they don't do anything, you need to have housekeeping go back into that room if they don't take it and clean it again because you just don't know. This story comes to us from Cheyenne09, the tale of how an HOA called us, a hotel, threatening to tow a vehicle on our private parking lot. It was a sunny evening. I had typed up an entire story pertaining to the title, and I randomly decided to click the notification icon on the Reddit website. Rookie mistake, I lost everything I typed. So here we are again, let's do it. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was off, enjoying my peaceful, happy, non-hotel life. The sun was out, my shades were down because F that heat. My AC was cooling, and I was staring at my ceiling, contemplating how cats have the reflex of supercharged ninjas. Ding! A text from the hotel, from the current front desk attendant. Hey, we just got a call from the HOA for the GM. She said that it was about a guest car and that it needs to be moved or else they will tow the car away by tomorrow. and they want to call back. I stare at my phone. I'm sorry, but scam calls or idiotic Karen calls don't need to come to me. Like, all the red flags of idiocy is there. But I'm curious. HOA? Not me wondering if the caller managed to come up with a fun, exciting acronym. Maybe Hotel Owners Association? A group of hotel owners that just manages the city's hotels and bind them down with rules and regulations free of charge? Yeah, not the answer I wanted, but it is what it is. Did they leave a number? Maybe a little phone call during my shifts will bring some form of excitement. No, but I can pull it from the logs. I laughed to myself. How are we supposed to call back and prevent the towing of a vehicle if they didn't leave a number to call back as requested? So, how do they know guest car? Oh, they didn't say her name specifically. It was more like the car was parked in the parking lot and homeless people take shelter in it. I stare at my phone. Look, our lot is small. I know what car he's talking about, and I know how pedantic that guest is with the car and privacy and safety, etc. And one of the parking lights is right above it. Like, you'd have to be the dumbest homeless person to try to take shelter in that car of all things. I'm not even sure there's room, laugh out loud. He can't pull the number because, surprise, surprise, *67 was probably used. So ends the tale of the Karen who called pretending to be an HOA to threaten us with a good time. Bonus story, disabled guest cussed out a front desk attendant woman because she refused to button up his shirt. She didn't feel comfortable doing it, but he cussed her out. I find out, and guess who isn't going to extend? I told him that, and his answer was, she didn't want to help me. Wow, okay, so? Doesn't give you the right to cuss her out over something stupid and trivial. If she wasn't comfortable, she isn't obligated to do it. And these guys have been extremely kind to him as well, to the point where he was, in my honest opinion, starting to take them for granted. Alright, in the comments for this one, we have an interesting one from a user called Space Angel 2001. It says, "My thumbs don't work properly. Thank you to those front desk attendants who have been kind enough to help me with collar buttons when I have to wear dress shirts and ties. I completely understand the ick factor, so I start the request as gently as possible and an assurance that no is an acceptable answer." Alright, going back to the first part of this post, there's no way that that call came from a legit HOA. It was probably from another person staying in the hotel, and I think we can leave that one there. As far as the buttoning up the shirt one though, the commenter really does have it right. They are under no obligation to button up your shirt, no matter whether you're disabled or not. I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not, but if somebody is disabled enough that they're not able to do up their own shirt, they should probably make provisions of their own before going to a hotel for somebody that can help them get their clothes on, because they can't expect random people to do that for them. Anyway, let me know what you think on that one. We'll go ahead and end this episode here. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow us on your preferred podcasting platform. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really does help us out. I thank you all for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.